in our out. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, no, appreciate that. And so touching on the the potential visitors that, the influx of visitors that we're going to be seeing, and also matching that with the with the new hotels that are coming on board. One of the other stats I was looking at is the 4.1 billion in revenues, and also the 4.1 million in visitors, right? What would you attribute that to? And how can as you said earlier, the local population benefit from that?
Mhm.
And how can we accelerate that also?
Well, okay, so why did we get so many visitors? At the risk of sounding boastful, I think it happened because of two reasons. One, again, when everyone else slowed down in 2020, some destinations just stopped completely. We didn't have the luxury of being able to completely stop. We introduced the world's first resilient corridor, which was essentially a travel bubble, if you will, within the destination that allowed visitors to enjoy a little bit of Jamaica while preserving the rest of Jamaica for future generations, and not even generations, but we're able to enjoy it now, um, because we recognize that we couldn't just completely stop. The visitors wanted to come, and more importantly, the persons who make a living off of tourism had to continue to make a living. So when everybody else dialed back, we ramped up, we pivoted, even though I promised myself I'd never use that word again after COVID, after 2020. We took the opportunity to introduce a lot of the digital strategies that we wanted to do previously. Um, and visitors had a wonderful time. And the guest satisfaction rate for Jamaica is so high that over 40% of our visitors are repeat visitors. So when you have repeat after repeat after repeat, you overlap that with new visitors, then you're going to see growth. Another reason why we believe that we know that we are doing so remarkably well is because we have this unwavering commitment to driving the business to our travel agent partners, the travel advisors. Why do I highlight that? I highlight that because travel advisors have a much larger role to play than simply recommending a hotel or recommending an airline. What good travel advisors do is they sit down with the visitors and find out their likes and their dislikes, and they play a matchmaking role. So essentially, they're matching the visitors with the perfect Jamaica experience for them. And that then translates into a higher guest satisfaction rate, which means that people have a good time and they come back again and again. The byproduct of that is that typically when they have a wonderful time, they go and tell their friends. Another reason why we're seeing the growth is because we made a decision some years ago to ramp up our engagement with the diaspora. The Jamaican community has always been very important to us for a number of reasons. Um, One particular reason is that before any visitor to Jamaica thinks about going to Jamaica, they first meet a Jamaican. Think about that. And so those Jamaicans are our, if you will, an extended arm of our sales force. And with over 2 million Jamaicans outside of Jamaica, that's a powerful sales force, and they have been doing a remarkable job for us. The other reason why the diaspora community has been so important is that they come home. They come home, they spend money, they bring friends, they bring grandma, they do all these things. And when they do come home, they don't stay they don't stay one place. They don't stay at the hotel, or they don't stay at the villa. They go into the communities and they spend money. Um, so when you add on all of that expenditure, all of those visitors, then that translates into the numbers that you just touted. And we're going to see more this year.
Mhm. Yeah, no, and I like the fact that you said you kind of accelerated some of the digital strategy that you had, and also I would say the extended sales force, right? Because when you meet a Jamaican he's gonna either talk about food, music, his country, or his or she's country that she loves, right? So that's a
Mhm.
huge extension in terms of the sales force and selling and having that impact, right? So touching on the digital strategy, um, right? What I would say, what was the most impactful for you, as part of that digital strategy?
Yeah. Well, so I personally, my role as deputy director for the Americas, which to be clear, covers United States, Caribbean, and Latin America. One of the things that I was adamant in doing is merging operations between my sales force and the marketing department. Marketing department does not report into me; they report into the other deputy director. But we've always felt that the lines between sales and marketing has been blurring, and the digital transformation kind of sped that up. So if you ask me, what was one of the things that in the digital space that I especially enjoyed was the recognition and the acceptance that digital is not going to replace the boots on the ground, but it's going to give the boots on the ground a much larger audience. It stemmed from something very simple. In 2006 or thereabout, I was promoted into the role then of district sales manager with responsibility for the western region of the United States. And I took a look at how vast the region was. I was responsible for over 2,000 travel agents in areas from Seattle, Washington, all the way down to San Diego, California, and everything in between, all the way across to Texas. It was a massive region. So I asked myself, how am I going to realistically make an impact? One man, I had a small team, but as a new person in the region, how was I going to make that impact? Digital was the only way to go. So Facebook, and there was no Instagram back then, but I'm going back to the days of using MySpace, right? So I'm going back a while. So, so so that recognition of the value of expanding one's audience then kind of spilled over into tactics that would allow us to reach a larger consumer base. So it wasn't just the travel agents. Now we use it to reach consumers. So coming out of that, we had some nice campaigns. We had Join Me in Jamaica, which was fantastic. The one before that we had was Intimate Stories of Jamaica, and it was a play on words, intimate as in small inns, small hotels. And we introduced that program because we recognized that these smaller hotels could never ever compete with in the larger space on rooms, on amenities. So what their value proposition was the stories that their staff members were able to share. So we created this program, captured their stories, and then we pushed out those stories to trade partners and to consumers. And that was a bit of the precursor, if you will, to the far more successful um, and more effective program as Join Me in Jamaica, which just as it says, had Jamaicans on island inviting you to come and join us in Jamaica. And then, out of that, a slew of other campaigns came out. But I can't say that there's any one that I'm more proud of, because it's like asking me I only have one child. If I had two, which child is my favorite, right? So,
Yeah, no, no, understood. And what, like when I saw through with some of the campaigns in terms of the Join Me, like it was nostalgic also, right? I was looking back at the Come Home to Jamaica, ads, like that was from way back, right? So it had that nostalgic feel
right.
to it, right? Come back to where you belong and
Yeah.
everything else, which was nice. Yeah.
Yeah. And it allowed us to be a little edgy at times. Um,
Mhm.
You know, what I do want to make abundantly clear, though, again, is that when we do these campaigns, the call to action is always go and speak with your favorite travel agent,
Mhm.
right? I want to make that clear. And that is a